Well, evening, sports fans, internet folk. It's 7 after 8 p.m. It is still October 7th, 2020. Well, I'm sure everyone's watched the debates at this point. You all got your own strong opinions of who you liked and who you didn't like. And they're all trying to tell what their opinions are, political pundits, of what's going on. Everyone else has got their own viewpoints on how things were, including the last debate. It wasn't a debate, it was a debacle. It was insanity. So now you've got a COVID-stricken president who claims he's well enough to do anything, including leap tall buildings with a single bound. And he's more than willing to go for a debate. And Biden's like, wait and see. He's waiting for COVID to really bite the living crap out of the president at this point over here. And the president thinks he's got it at this point. That's the general consensus going on social media at this point, the feeling of it. And people are still debating over it, not to mention the polite debate we had tonight between Pence and Harris. So imagine what next week's is going to be like. Of course, basically, you're going to be dying to see what I'm going to say concerning about who I like and who I didn't like, and do a blow-by-blow like everybody else would be doing at this point. And believe me, I'd be sorely tempted at this point, because there's a hell of a lot of topics and a lot of issues that they tried to cover, and this next debate is going to be a town hall. They're going to be screening people to make sure that they don't have the COVID bringing in or bringing out. They're going to be screening these people, hopefully, to make sure that the debaters. But I'm not quite sure if Trump's going to be well enough and recovered enough, according to what. No, I don't trust his doctors at all. I don't trust the medical staff. The so-called quackery staff, I should call them. Because those who are following the president are basically yes men at this point. And they think he's well enough. Hell, they thought he was sane enough getting in the office. How would you like having a doctor in a limousine evaluate your ass and tell people that he's 100%? That's not an evaluation, that's bullshit. Brought up a false report, but they never did prosecute that one, nor put the doctor through the medical board for review. So imagine when I was hearing all those quackeries lining up outside Walter Reed, proclaiming the Donald Trump being well enough. Every one of those guys knew that Trump wasn't well enough, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He was still coming back to the White House contaminated. And we have a White House that's thoroughly contaminated. Everything in that place would need to be sterilized. The only good sterilization is cook the entire place. I mean, COVID likes warm weather, doesn't like cold water. Actually, maybe cold water too. If they were just dealing with a basic bed bug defense, I'd say cook the whole White House up to 160 degrees and then try to get back in there and deal with stuff. But we're dealing with a COVID-19 that snuck its ass in there, and now people are having issues with it. They can't even stay in the White House because of the damn bug. And yet President Trump is in there, contaminated. We're less than 3 weeks away from ground zero. Trying to wait while I scratch my living body out like crazy and doing this. Probably grosses you people out. Sorry, but when I have itchy ears, I got itchy ears. Itchy, dry, scaly, flaky ears. And no, I don't have any medications to take care of them. The only way to do them is scrape them out. Well, you can't do that to Trump or his idealism or the people in there. And the more I keep hearing more and more about what they're talking about, what the fact checks are, when everything else people are saying it's over here, they're driving me crazy. So I'm turning the damn thing off. I watched the entire debate, and I think last week, or was it last week before, I was having a royal field day over the thing because I've seen two guys going after each other left and right, and poor Chris Wallace couldn't even keep the damn thing together. And yet we got this one person from USA Today keeping it civilized this time, because the other two actually tried to keep it civilized. And I looked at Harris as energetic, and I looked at Pence as a damn zombie. He wants to show how vice presidential he is. He wasn't even looking human. I'm looking at a damn zombie trying to react. Where's the humanity? At least Harris was looking at the guy sometimes with pitiful eyes and like, you gotta be kidding me, with a smile on her face. And Pence was trying to be, I'm very stiff in his speech patterns, and as he upheld himself. And I'm like, how the hell did you ever survive humanity being a corpse? They could have gone over Harris's record concerning about an attorney general obeying a prosecutor. I know she's pro-law enforcement, but she wants to save law enforcement. As much as it looks in a different light than what's being projected, my feeling, my own opinion at this point over here, is she honestly cares about the law enforcement officers who are getting their asses kicked by the rotten apples in there. Because she sure as hell hates seeing all this shit happening. I had a neighbor over here watching some of the debate while she was talking about the case of Breonna Taylor and a couple other cases. And Vance was still trying to act like he's... I'm like, is there any emotion in this guy? I mean, is there anything that this guy is he actually even acting as human? I missed the lively debates that they had regarding the Democratic candidates willing it down, because at least they were animated and going after each other and like, I like this candidate, I like that candidate, I like this candidate, I like that candidate. Not quite sure about this guy's policy every year, not quite sure he's going to survive. And then Harris gets picked out by Biden. And then Biden and Harris on the same ticket. So now they're going head to head with the Trump and the Pence. Everyone is free to share their political opinions on comments and likes and dislikes. You're all expecting me to go crazy with the support message here. You want me to say something like, I like this guy and I like that guy. I'm a Democrat. The messages I've been hearing from Biden and Harris are good. What I'm worried about at this point over here, despite how good the message was, or how animated, I still have to look at it tactically, and I have to look at it strategically. We can all go for the emotionalism, or we can strongly look at the views, one by one. and see how records are standing up and stacked up. But it all depends on how they're presenting themselves. Now, it was said a long time ago by teachers and instructors I've had, people have to look for panache. How much theatrics, how much debonair, how much of the hand waving are they actually going to be paying attention to the guy on the stage? Are they going to be paying attention to a guy stiff on the stage? No, because at this point people are going crazy over General Shrimp because he's theatrics. He promises the moon, but it doesn't deliver. And they don't care. They want to see the theatrics. The populist viewpoint is look for the hand waving. Nothing up my sleeves. But presto, here comes something. What the hell was that? I don't know what the hell it was. Back in there again. You're looking at the magicians. You're not looking at the people who have actually got policies, or have actually completed stuff, who have actually done stuff. And I know a lot of people are going to say they've done this and done it with executive orders, but they're not laws. I've also seen and heard and read the executive orders these days of shutting down things left and right. The cruise industry in Florida dying at this point over here. They're struggling like crazy trying to get their state going one way or another. Opposite side of the West Coast, we're burning up like crazy. We have to wear masks, but we're burning up like crazy. Well, we have to do forest management. The forests that are burning up are national. They're not state. They're not local. They're national. But we're responsible as a state to do their job that they have no money for. I like the personnel for it. But the state gets blamed for it. And the atmosphere is getting worse and worse because we're getting stronger and stronger hurricanes. But we got records going back over 100 years over the frequency. And trying to chart with whatever records we've got and developing the strength records of which categories there were. I would have to Google it and research it on weather sites and other sources to see when the category system started for the hurricanes. But the duration and amount that they've had each year. We haven't got into the Greek alphabets in a hell of a long while. We're racking in tropical storms and hurricanes left and right. There's records on these. There's actually public records out there. And that can be researched. But people just don't want to hear it. They want to see the finesse. They want to see the guy tap dancing his ass off like crazy. Like Major Charles Emerson Winchester of Mosh. In one particular dream episode where everyone's having a nightmare at this point, they can't even dream. In the episode I remember is when the Major is trying to be a performer while people are dying in front of him. That's what I'm seeing our current political system right now. I'm seeing the flash. I'm not seeing the substance. We're a meat and potatoes country with a little bit of gravy. But for some of us, like ice cream, we want our desserts. We want our chocolate mousse, our eclairs, our candy bars before the meal. We want to fill up on the junk food. We want to fill up on basically the sugary and the fattening stuff before we get to the meat and potatoes. Or maybe some vegetables along the way. My God, there might be a healthy salad in there. That's scary enough. Might be a healthy beef stew. No, you can't have beef stew. We must give you something worse. You have to see the show first. How people are trying to kill themselves on a damn stage, trying to entertain you while you're trying to feed yourself on whatever kind of gruel you can get. But you have to keep paying attention to these folks because they want you to keep paying attention. I'm not talking about just Biden and Harris at this point over here. I've been talking about Trump and Pence and everybody else. We're getting down to it, boys and girls. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty at this point over here, where people are really going to be going to divisive and divisional. We're going to be going into the us versus them worse than ever. Worse than ever. And if we get past the first and second week of November, we still don't have a clear-cut winner, what kind of chaos are we going to be running into during that time? Is there going to be martial law? Is there actually going to be something sent through the Supreme Court? The 2000 election between George W. Bush and Al Gore was held up by tiny pieces of paper called chads on huge rectangular ballots that you punch. You get this sharp, pointy puncher. It's supposed to be punch, 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 punch. And there's supposed to be no chads, just a hole. Because when you run it through the machine, it's supposed to be counting all those holes. But if it sees a chad still hanging on there, it doesn't count it. The vote's invalid. So there were thousands and thousands of these damn things. And it had to go through the court systems. And the court said, count the sons of bitches. So the Congress did that. Put it throughout the congressional areas and counted every single damn one of them. Because of the fucking chads. I said it. Fucking chads. They couldn't get in there. They saw the chads. And it was hanging, but they had a selection. They had to carefully put them in a pile. Counted either for Gore, counted for Bush, and they were all counted. Every frickin' ballot. Every frickin' ballot that was affected. And then even more so. And by the time January 1st was coming around, the first of the year, they were tired as hell, but they think they had their president. And it was Bush. All because of a technicality. Not missing ballots. This was ballots handed in. Put into the boxes. With hanging little chads. Hanging little pieces of paper. This was in-person voting. Not mail-in ballots. Not the thousands and thousands of ballots that go to invalidate everything. We have to be paranoid about the damn thing. No. You have to be paranoid about the ones that you've got right now as it is, because if you don't darken that circle enough, it's like completely dark and filled out or punched through or whatever you're doing. Maybe a little stamp to put on there. If it's not completely filled out properly, there is no way in hell your vote's going to be counted for. In-person voting. Never mind the damn mail-in ballots. That's in-person voting I'm worried about. Because the guys doing the polls, they're not checking those. It's only the people on the other side who get the ballots and have to read all that stuff. And they have to sort it out. All the poll watchers do, actually poll takers do, is hand you the ballots. Find out which political party, verify your address, your name. If everything else checks out, to hand you a ballot, and you're able to vote. Or maybe you're out of town, but you still want to vote. One way or another, you're legally entitled to vote. And then, we see what happens. We see what happens. Harris and Pence had their day. They had their time. They had their debate. The pundits will have their say. We will have our chance in about 3 to 4 weeks. I made a strong plea, and I'm still making a strong plea. It is your constitutional right, it is your constitutional duty to vote. Do not throw this chance away. You vote your conscience, you vote your guts. You vote for the candidate you feel is the right one. And let's see what happens in November.